start with the Xbox stuff. Taylor, you lead off about because you love talking about flops. I'm gonna be right back because I have drank this whole water and I'm it's killing me here. But you lead off. What is Xbox made a bunch of announcements and I know you're gonna talk about how it's
the
God's gift to the
Xbox
earth.
One X Series X is actually consisting of 2061 original Xboxes. That's how much power it has.
Wow.
I did the math. It is absolutely wild.
You did the quick maths, the number
Quick maths.
crunching.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Xboxes.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of these like recent updates that they've announced, I think it's super cool. I love seeing, the quick resume feature. I think is a big thing.
That's
for
really
me.
cool.
I think that's just.
I hope
that's
PlayStation
awesome.
has that.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a standard. I hope PlayStation has that.
What does that mean?
So quick resume essentially means like you could have multiple apps up at the same time. So you could have 4 games that are active. You could just within a second switch between them.
That's really cool.
Which I think is perfect for Xbox, right? Because of Game Pass, right? You could just like load up a bunch of things and just kind of fuck around between.
And it works through Game Pass or just
it works through everything, I believe. And we just got a huge user interface overhaul. When I booted up this morning, they completely changed the entire interface. So it's so much more about like you have all of these like cubes which has like your apps and then your games and your Game Pass.
See your COD update.
Yeah, so it's great because like I can like literally when this quick resume feature comes out, I'll be like, okay, like I can have like I have like my
Wait,
main
is that coming
menu.
to Xbox One though?
The quick resume?
Yeah.
No, I'm assuming like when
you
when
mean
I
when you
play
have
on
your
the
Series
Series
X,
X and this UI is brought over onto that. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it will be, but
It reminds me back in the Xbox 360 days when they did that big update where you could like have a character.
Yeah.
That like blew my mind.
The avatar character.
Yeah, do you remember like what it looked like before? Oh my gosh, it was so dated.
Yeah, but honestly, that's like, I mean, I'll rave about the 360 all day. It's my favorite console ever. But they had like 3 separate UIs that I can remember, and all of them were actually really good. So
yeah,
I can only picture the 2.
I'm really curious with quick resume. So it's 4 or 5. Is it 5 or 4?
I thought it was 5.
Okay, so let's say there's 5. I'm really curious. Let's say you have 5 games open. So you have like let's say you have Halo, Outer Worlds, Gears, like bigger games. Like how does that affect it? Like if you have Halo open and all those other games, like is Halo gonna run really well, or is it gonna be like lagging out, dropping frames? Like I'm really curious to see how that works on a technical level because that sounds
teraflops,
pretty.
baby.
Yeah, it's 12 teraflops, but I'm just really curious to see how that goes.
With how it like right now with Xbox, so like if I'm playing a game and I want to turn it off, but I don't quit it. I just leave, like go back to home and I boot up like Netflix or I boot up like Disney Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
The game is still running and I can go right back into the game and pick up right where I've left off.
So you already kind of have that.
It kind of, but not in the level of like multiple games. But it doesn't lag. It doesn't deter from like the quality of either or. So
because with PlayStation you have to close whatever app it is.
Unless it's like game to Netflix or something like that. It suspends it, but you can't actually have 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see how how well the games run when you're screwing out with that. It's not like how often you're gonna want 5 games to be open at the same time. Like I would imagine it would be more something like, let's say you're really into The Division or Destiny, like maybe you keep that game open so you can go in for your daily. I don't know if those games have daily rewards, but you go in there quickly, do a daily sort of thing, and then skip back to your other game that you're playing.
Like it's funny that they're doing this because they've really set the stage for it because you can have you can create like pin boards basically of like which games you like are playing. So basically you can
folders, do you mean?
Well, you can name it and then you can add whatever games you have in your library into it and it pops up right on your main menu. So I have right now I have like my current games I'm playing as my pin board and I have 5 games I'm cycling through. So again, like what you just said, like if you are bouncing back and forth between like Destiny and Division 2, having that feature with like the accessibility on the UI makes it so much nicer to work with this kind of new program. So
I think you can set folders and stuff on PlayStation's UI as well. But I think the biggest thing that Xbox announced wasn't necessarily the teraflops, but is what they're calling smart delivery, right? They have this classic kind of clickbaity name on it. Clickbaity name is the word I'm looking for.
We love them.
Which essentially means that, and companies have to opt into this, right? So obviously Xbox Game Studio stuff is going to have this, but who knows who else is going to have this? But essentially, for example, I buy
Cyberpunk.
I buy Cyberpunk on because CD Projekt Red said that hey, we're opting into this. You buy that game on Xbox One. Later you get your Series X. They'll give you the latest, most up-to-date version of the game. So instead of like popping in your Xbox One disc and you're essentially playing the Xbox One game on your Series X, it'll update it to like you know how Skyrim has like the special edition, or GTA has like the next gen edition. Like you would get the most up to date version. So
not another $80 or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
which is really interesting, and obviously it's great because it's another thing from Xbox where it's very, very user friendly, and like
big time.
it's great for consumer friendly is the word I'm looking for. Sorry. Whereas a lot of game companies are not going to want this. Rockstar is never going to allow this, right? Because the reason, one of the big reasons why GTA 5 is like the most profitable thing ever is because people were buying multiple copies of the game. So obviously all of Xbox Game Studio stuff is going to have this because they're within the family. And then, I mean, CD Projekt Red, but I'm super curious. Like, I don't imagine Bethesda's going to do this with their games either, because Skyrim as well, they love pumping that out. Like, they wouldn't spend 7-8 years re-releasing versions of Skyrim if they weren't going to make profit on it, like each time they do that.
That's true, but it makes me wonder at the same time, okay, like how will Game Pass like come into play? Especially because then we got Grand Theft Auto 5 in Games Pass. It makes me wonder, like, okay,
but
will
so
they
many years later, though.
Well, so
right?
many years later, yeah. But I think that's a huge step because, like, so many years later, Game Pass wasn't a thing when Grand Theft Auto 5 first came out. It's really evolved to what it is now. So it makes me wonder in that sense, okay, well, yes, so Rockstar doesn't want to lose the amount of money it makes on selling copies. So would Microsoft like fork out a large, sizable amount of money to them in order to have it? So every time it gets downloaded, then we would.
Though.
It would. It would have to be based on downloads.
I think
right?
hefty enough would not it'd be too hefty.
Yeah, you're like
in the
for
red.
some studios. Absolutely yes.
Yeah,
Rockstar, no. Rockstar's not going to do that.
Same thing with Bethesda. I think for most
Bethesda,
part, for those big titles at least. For what's
for
that new one?
Starfield, for Elder Scrolls, and for Fallout, no way. I don't think
for Prey, maybe they do that. Yeah, like a Prey 2 comes out. Yeah,
possibly.
Like that. Yeah.
Not that they have ever done that, but
Steam. This is interesting because I know Steam has like early development games, so you can buy it, and then early access games. I wonder if like that could be an option for Xbox, because that was always just a question to me, because it's like when I thought of an early access game, like you wouldn't be able to buy the disc because then they would have to just constantly be updating it for like that. But if they
get
go
a disc every month,
but if they go that route where they're claiming that like once you buy this, like you are supporting us in our development right now, this game might not be what we want it to be, but you're putting that risk in by like I don't know. So maybe that'll be like more of a common scenario, because like you guys mentioned, I
like
can't
that
see
train of thought, because the early access is a huge part of Steam, and that's like a big thing, and it's also quite controversial at times, right? Because a game or a studio will put their game on there, a bunch of people buy it, and then like the game just never gets finished, or like because they made their money from it. Why would they continue? And that's where it's like, okay, well, if I'm making a game, am I going to want to make that updated version? No, because that's just a ton of extra time and money, and I'm not getting anything out of it unless, like you're saying, Xbox forks out money and then... Sorry, what were you going to say, Travis?
I just think that's where you got to be risk, because I think console people are a lot more fickle than computer people. I think they'll be understanding. Look at Fallout 76. Look at Anthem. I think console people, you get your early access of, let's just say, the Avengers game, right? I think if it's not finished and it's a long time, I think that will sour a lot of console people. They're not used to that ecosystem. You could build them, but all it takes is one bad apple, a few of them, and people be like, I'm not going to subscribe to this. I just don't think that's been my biggest thing. Is I think this is great stuff. I just don't think Xbox has the power to change this narrative right now. I don't think most developers and studios are going to adopt this. I don't think they're going to take it on. And that's why I've seen some people like, oh, well, if Xbox is doing this, what's PlayStation's answer? I don't think PlayStation is going to need an answer, because I don't think this is going to be a question for many studios. I think sales is still number one. Until many people, CD Projekt Red can kind of afford to do that, but they also are kind of in a partnership with Xbox. So it's like, it's not like if a Rockstar did come out, that's a game changer. CD Projekt Red doing it is big, but I don't think it's a game changer because they have a pre-existing, like they've been doing exclusive stuff with E3. So to me, I need a big third party one to come and be like, we're doing this, and I don't see it yet, because you're just cannibalizing your sales. I don't understand why you do that.
I don't see though that the third party companies are like, I don't think they would do this. I don't think even like Projekt Red would do this if it didn't like benefit them in some shape or form. Like I don't feel like they're going to go ahead and do it, for us as consumers. I think that's like a little crock. I think they're at the end of the day, they need money. They need money to keep going. Yeah. And I think they're going to do it because Xbox is going to hold their hand through it. And I feel like that's at the end of the day how it's going to work, and how they're going to try to maybe see in a few years what happens with other third party companies.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like for CD Projekt Red, this is like brownie points, right? right? It's like
100%.
That's
It's a good publicity stunt.
it's a good publicity
Yeah.
stunt. It's like a more, but we just have like a more positive viewpoint of them now because that's like I guess an honorable thing to do. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how it evolves. I'm curious to see how, as you say, like how Sony reacts to this. If they care, if they like, don't they want to sell you Last of Us Part 2? Enhanced edition on the PS5,
Well,
right?
it's still interesting to see what they're doing backwards compatible because they've said like digital games and stuff with PS4, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a way that, remember, was it early on with the Xbox One where it was like if you own this game, you can find a way to get it digitally remastered for like the 360 games when they originally did backwards compatibility? Wasn't it something like you had to prove you had it and you get a code for an Xbox One version?
I don't remember how it was at first. Like, he's saying like they would remaster it. And they
Well,
would
how do you do it now? Because you can't just put the disc in now, right? Or can you for a 360 game into Xbox One?
No, I think I can.
Okay, so but I think there was,
but it doesn't enhance your game. Yeah,
It doesn't enhance the game, but you still get like all the features.
yeah.
I'm just wondering with PlayStation if there's a way, because they've talked about if there's a way that through your website, if there's your account, if you've proven that, hey, I've spent my $80 on Last of Us, that they will just transfer that over. Even if it's just the disc version, I still think there's a chance. I don't know if they'll do that because I agree with you. Don't they want to do that?
Yeah.
But if they have to answer, that could be the answer. I just don't think they have to, because it's so funny that like I love so many people like, oh, look at PS5, they don't do that with PS4. It's like Switch doesn't get any shit for doing that with Wii U. It's so funny because it's the big war. So it's like it's the same thing. I want cross-platform playing to happen, but with people like demanding, it's like this is like a new thing that like has not been around for decades. So why are people saying like, oh, PlayStation, they better have backwards compatibility? It's the same thing too. It's like they did it for the PS4 and that worked out. It's their biggest selling console. It's what, 3 or 2? I don't know. I always forget what it is. So it's like people saying like, oh, Xbox has backwards, PS5 has to. I don't think they have to. I always say that like I think they're on 2 different tracks. I think they're in different playing fields. And I think all this stuff for Xbox they announced is good. Has actually convinced me that I think in the 2 years of releasing, I'll buy one. But I don't think it's a, like I don't think it puts the fire on PlayStation like many people have said, or people at least I follow have said. I don't see PlayStation looking at this as being worried.
Yeah, I think part of CD Projekt Red doing this is just because strictly the timing, right? Like their game is coming out in September. Obviously, we did our predictions cast recently, said maybe Xbox comes out in September, but either way, those consoles are coming out after that game. But like it's really close, right? It's like 1 to 3 months. So this looks good for them, and it's like. Maybe that's probably better for them for sales on launch, right? If you're Taylor and you're gonna buy like maybe you'd say, oh, I'm just gonna wait and get the Series X version, but now you don't have to do that. So that means that they're getting that sale on launch day instead of like 3 months down the line, which is they want you to buy it on launch day, right? Because that looks better for them, and it's
nice headline. We sold this many.
Yeah,
copies,
exactly.
Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
So I'm wondering if this is more an isolated case where yes, Xbox and they're independent, they're like their owned studios are gonna have this feature because it's nice, user friendly. It's all like within the family,
which makes sense. Cost saving stuff.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
it's like it's just another thing that like another thumbs up for Xbox, right? Like they're just doing so many great plays. But yeah, I really am curious if it's like CD Projekt Red and it's just that timing, right, where it's just so close to the new consoles. But yeah, I'm like, let's say Last of Us Part 2 on PS5 has like the add-on for that game is like a multiplayer like they add the multiplayer back or something because that's not in. We already know it's not in Last of Us Part 2. They don't have the multiplayer. Let's say they do that for the next gen version. Like they don't, to justify that cost to make that extra huge feature, then they're gonna have to make you pay for the game again, or at least in theory. Right?
Taylor, say whatever you need to because you gotta leave here soon, right?
Soon, yeah.
Okay.
I'm really interested in just seeing like what other companies like back this, and again, like if they go that route of like the early access games, it's interesting because the early access stuff, it's so like community driven, and like Steam as a platform, like it's like they have like the community page where a lot of people are like commenting on it. The developers can even comment on like certain things and like give feedback. So I feel like that's just like kind of a different thing from PC and consoles.
It is because you can just go online and download these enhanced versions.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like you can already do this on PC in a way, right?
And maybe that is Xbox's answer to switch that. But then again, if that happens, then it's again them and PlayStation are doing different things. PlayStation's not going to do that. They're not going to do early access.
Yeah,
no. Like this is the pristine. This is the game. This is Last of Us Part 2 ready to go.
I think that's where people are at, where it's like even cross-platform play, like. Sony didn't want to do that, but then they kind of got strong-armed and like, okay, we did it for Fortnite, and then it kind of cracked open the door. We'll do it for this game, da-da-da-da-da. And so, like maybe that's where it could be a thing for Sony, right? Where it's like people are like, oh, are you going to do this too? If I buy if I buy Cyberpunk, like, oh, okay, I'm not going to buy it on PS4 then. I'm just going to wait for this version. Nintendo's never going to do this. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
They love selling Mario Kart 8, a 5-year-old game, for $80.
I think so. I think the cross-platform is a bit easier bridge across. Where I think Sony's a lot like it's a Japan like run company, right?
Yeah.
Like I think they're a lot more like Nintendo, where they go, no, we'll take more sales, and hey, that's great. You can do an Xbox. Go buy an Xbox, And that didn't help last generation. Where like, oh, we got this new feature, Yeah. Like Dylan says, all these thumbs up, but you can't see all the thumbs up when there's the huge, massive Sony shadow in the way, and that's what I think. It's just I think they can just take the approach of like what we were talking about Disney being so big to not care, Like there's a chance. It could backfire.
Thing, right? Like there's so much of Xbox is just like right, it's like their soapbox right now. Like they're the only ones talking about stuff. So Sony is gonna have something interesting, something special. It's gonna be something other than just like the solid state drive, so you have less load times. Like they're gonna have some stuff too. We just have no idea what it is yet.
And Xbox
so they're gonna bite back. It might not be with this feature that Xbox has, but it's gonna be something else really cool because they're gonna have to justify you to get in the door too.
And Xbox did say we're gonna learn more on the way to E3, on the road to E3. So people have said, is that before E3 or at E3?
Yeah.
Either way, Sony now knows, if they're going to do a big reveal, it's going to be in this time frame. I think they kind of fucked themselves because I think Sony, we predict it'll be after E3. I think they'll definitely wait after E3. If they have any inkling that Xbox is going to do their big reveal at E3, why not wait a few weeks? If there is a price, everyone's like, this Xbox great price, and they were higher, take it down. That's what not that they did last time, but they have that advantage. If they have that advantage again, it's easy for them because I think they'll bite the cost just to get that goodwill too. And that's saying it's a one-side conversation, and I'm excited to see them both reveal. But
no, it's been so silent on the PlayStation front.
It's coming soon.
Yeah, which is a good or bad thing. Either it comes out with all this hype and it's a big lump like PS3 did or Xbox One, or it's just they are so silent and they come in and
it's weird because like we're not hearing much about the consoles, but like Sony is still kicking it with like. I'll say 2 pretty big exclusives this year. Dreams, I wouldn't quite put in that tier. It's cool, but
PS4 is still selling really healthy.
Yeah, but they still have like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima this year in like the next few months. So like, it's not that they're saying nothing. It's like they just are maybe trying to let these games soak in all the glory for right now before they drop their next gen details.
Which I agree with, because why you might get those people like, why should I buy Last of Us? It could be on the next one. Like just wait. Like why reveal it now? And especially like I know there's been rumors of the consoles maybe getting delayed. I don't know if that's going to happen, but what if there is, because of this like all these health and viruses going around? What if there was a chance we don't get these consoles in this year?
Yeah, it could get delayed.
Yeah, then why reveal it? What happens if they revealed it next week and then they go, oh, we're actually not putting out to like 2021 spring, and it's like we just did a big slate for nothing. And that's where Xbox giving a lot of stuff out could hurt them unless they're ready to go. So. It's interesting times.
And who knows, maybe Sony's counter to this thing from Xbox is just like Ghost of Tsushima is coming up close to the PS5 release. We'll do it for that game, but then nothing else. Like maybe it's as simple as that, right?
Crossover games.
Right,
We'll do it for NAC as well.
Yeah. There you go. I'll bring the fucking enhanced version for NAC.
Yeah, not NAC 2 though, just the first NAC.
I guess my last point here is like a lot of these enhanced or like whatever versions often come with DLC and stuff, and that's where I'm curious how that's going to play into like Xbox's plan, because then I feel like it gets trickier to monetize DLC in like the traditional way, which
companies
it's still been pretty much the same for the last few years, like for the most part.
Yeah,
like we're breaking more into like service games, and obviously there's like been like the loot box kind of games, but a lot of like single player sort of games still have like a very traditional like DLC pricing scheme and announcement windows and stuff. So yeah.
Console wars, they're happening. Anything else?
Halo Wars 2. Anything?
Support an Xbox.
Support an Xbox.
Support an Xbox.
Support Xbox, baby.